Why do the approval rates vary so drastically among asylum offices in different parts of the country? Well, look, part of it, I think, is the people that are there, the officers and the culture at the offices, which is in part determined by who lives in those places. Look, so people on the coasts tend to be more liberal, more progressive, and more pro-immigrant, and they just tend to be the kind of people that are more likely to want to give an immigrant a chance and to interpret the law in a way that's more favorable to immigrants. That's why the coasts, especially in the Northeast and the West Coast, tend to have higher approval rates. However, that doesn't hold true across the board because the Boston Asylum Office and the New York Asylum Office have low approval rates. You would expect that as liberal cities, that there would be a lot of liberal officers living and working there, but they have very low approval rates. And I think that those are outliers due to the directors of those offices. It just happens to be that there have been directors at those offices, the people in charge of those offices that are very much the opposite of what I was describing. They're pretty much probably anti-immigrant and set a tone and a culture in an office that just expects and pretty much demands denials, a high denial rate. So yeah, it's hard to explain this phenomenon with a lot of confidence, but I think it partly has to do with the culture of the people that tend to live in more liberal areas. But it's not across the board because there are these Boston and New York have very low approval rates despite being in liberal areas, and I think that's owing to the specific directors at those offices.